up, everybody? It's Dr. Sketch. Welcome back to the lab. I just made a trip to the Dollar Tree, the $1.25 store, and I found these weird little gnomes. These weird looking little gnomes, and they are weird looking. So here's one of them. Here's one of them. Looks kind of like he's picking his nose there. But you can tell, and I think these things are made of like a concrete. they're porous. They got pores in them, and I think they're made of like a concrete material. You can hear that. That's not a ceramic. These are not ceramic. I'm about to show you why I believe that, but here's one of them, and you can tell the paint jobs on these are terrible. They're just terrible. But for $1.25, I mean, honestly, this is like a customizer's dream. If you're a crafter and you just want to do stuff with things, I mean, these little guys here, the reason why I picked them up is because their features, I mean, they're pop-out features. They're not like, I don't know if I have any. You get like porcelain figures, and I'm working on one right now, which I can't show you at the moment, but porcelain figures have sunk-in features, and these little guys, they don't. They have pop-out features. I mean, some of their stuff is sunk in, like the beard here. That's partly sunk in. The hands are partly sunk in. So you got a little bit of that, but you also got a lot of pop-out features, like the toes, of course, the hat. The belt seems to be a type of pop-out. So, you know, these guys are really good for customization. You can tell the hat right there has a brim. And here's another one, and he's just kind of sitting holding his toes. And you can tell, here, see, I bought this at the Dollar Tree. It's from Greenbrier International, which is Dollar Tree. And you can tell right there they covered up the unpainted spot. So that spot's unpainted, and it's just terrible paint job. But like I said, for $1.25, they could have sold these to me without paint, and I would have been happy. They could have sold these to me in just concrete form, and I would have been happy, because you can repaint these, and you can make them into something better. But because they are concrete, you can actually put them outside. I don't know how long they would last outside, especially if you paint them. Maybe if you clear coat them or put some like a clear primer on it, it might last a little longer. But I don't know how long these little guys would last without properly coating them. So what we're going to do is we're going to customize these, and then we're going to reveal what the customization looks like. But I'm gonna cut into one of these, and I'm going to show you exactly what these things are made of. I'm not going to cut it in half or anything like that, but because of what I'm going to do to this thing, I'm going to knob the ears off, because I don't like the gnome's ears. They kind of look like cow ears. If you look at them, they pop out from the sides. They don't look like human ears. You know, they kind of look like cow ears. You know how cow ears just kind of come out. There was a deity in Egypt. What was her name? Hathor, and she had ears like that. You know, when they depicted her with ears coming out from the side of her head. So I'm gonna tap into one of these using a chisel scraper. This is a chisel scraper, and I'm just gonna put this on the ear here. You know what? Maybe I should just use my trusty file. I'll try to file it down. Hey, that works perfect. Concrete dust. That works perfect. So now you can see right there. Let me see if I can get it in focus. But you can see this is like a concrete material, and you can't just scrape it off. So it's definitely like a concrete type material. But you can take a file and file it down. It's kind of a satisfying sound, isn't it? That file sound. So we're just going to file this down, and I'm going to show you what they look like without their ears. They're a lot better looking without those cow ears. And if you're asking me, how do I know this? Well, I've already customized a couple of them. I made a couple of them, and maybe I'll show you guys what I made. But I made a couple of them into Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City Royals, Dallas Cowboys, because my wife likes the Cowboys, and one of them Seahawks, because I like the Seahawks. And they turned out pretty awesome. I'm pretty impressed with the way they turned out. See if I can file this little edge around his hat. Maybe I can make the hat pop out more. Man, that's the only bad thing about this stuff is it is like a concrete, like I said, and it does have dust. So when you do this, you got to be careful that, you know, the dust, it's going to go all over you. I mean, but, you know, be careful. I don't know how safe it is to breathe this stuff in. But here he is with his ear, and here he is without his ear. You can see where I ground that off. And see, without his ears, he's a lot better looking. It's almost like his hair should have covered the ears. But he's a lot better looking because he doesn't have the cow ear. You know, and so I'm just gonna scrape this other one off. We're gonna get rid of these things. And I'm gonna make this guy into something awesome for my son Jacob, because he loves gnomes. Jacob loves gnomes. And so I'm gonna turn this into something awesome for my boy. Just gonna sand this down. You guys don't have to watch me sanding this down. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna put the camera down on my gnome here. We're gonna turn this around, and we're gonna put this right there on my little gnomey. Oh. So we're going to put this on the gnome. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take this clay, this Sculpey. This is what I'm using, Super Sculpey. If you watch my channel, you know this is the stuff that I use. This is Super Sculpey. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. You can get it at Joann's and many other outlets. You can't get this at Walmart. You can't get this at like Target or any place like that right now. I'm hoping later on maybe you can. But right now, you get this at like Joann's. You get this at, I don't know if Michael's sells this. You might be able to try Michael's and see if maybe they sell it. But Hobby Lobby sells it, and so does Joann's. And Amazon, I think, sells it. So you can get it on Amazon. But this is good stuff. It's good stuff. And you can get this stuff down to little to nothing. I mean, as thin as can be. You know, I made this head here. I made this head here out of this stuff, and you can see here where I wrapped his little cloth here around his head. That was on like setting 6. You get yourself a pasta maker, one of these, not a pasta maker, but a pasta machine where you can grind the pasta dough. Is that what you call it, pasta dough? Anyway, pasta in the little grinder. Let me see if I can turn my thing around and show you, because we're going to be using it anyway. So this is a pasta. That's a pasta maker. And what you do with this, and I don't know exactly how much these are. I got this one, I think I bought this at a garage sale. I was very happy to have found this at a garage sale. It was either at a garage sale or it was a Goodwill. But I think I paid $7. I don't know how much these things are in the store. I imagine they're probably pretty pricey. I mean, these things are solid. And they have, let me see if I can move my cup here. My good old paintbrush cup. So, these things have different settings on them, and I don't know if you can see that on the video, but they have different settings on them. You can go all the way down to 1 thickness. I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to put the clay right here, in here, and we're going to just grind it down. You can see there how it just comes right out. And this is at thickness 1, right here. That's 1 thickness. And this is pretty, it is pretty thick. It's pretty sturdy. Now, if you put this on 2, it's just a little more pliable, but not too much. And you can see, you can't really tell the difference between the thicknesses of it. If you go over to 4, let's see if I can maybe divide, or not divide this, but fold this over, and you can clearly see that this is thinner than this one, and it's getting thinner. So that's what these different settings do. And you put this, I like to put it on 5 or 6. 6 is preferably for stuff like this, because 7's a little too thin. So that's about 6. So we're gonna put this on 6, and I'm gonna show you how thin this thing goes. So you can see right there how thin that is, and you can just kind of stick your thumb right through it. I mean, it's not, this stuff, this is on 4. You can see my thumb, I can stick it through it, but it took some force. It took a little bit of force. So the thickness makes all the difference in what you're trying to do with your project. Let me go ahead and show you what it's like on setting 7. Setting 7, oddly enough, is really thin compared to 6. 6 is the preferred, but this is 7. I mean, it comes out almost paper thin. And when I say paper thin, I'm talking like recycled paper thin. I'm talking about, I mean, you can see this. It's folded, but you can see right through it. And you can just tear the stuff. I mean, it's, yeah, see, you can just tear it. It just comes right apart. And it's really super pliable. And so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the gnome's head. Let me see if I can pull this back over here. We're going to wrap the gnome's head like this. I'm going to show you real quick what this does. This is paper thin setting, remember that. I'm going to show you real quick what this does. So we're just going to kind of fold the ends here. And you got to be careful, because like I said, on this setting, they will tear. But see, this is what it does. Whoa, shoot. This is what it does. It's able to be pliable. I mean, you can see right there. And if you would heat gun this like this, you would have like a plastic type material that would be like that, and it would stay that way. But it's very fragile. At setting number 7, it's very, very fragile. This right here, this little head that I made, is very fragile. If I were to just take this and go, it would just break right off. I'm not going to show you that because I'm not going to break it. But you can see right here on these how fragile these are, and you can hear it. And so these will just break right off. This right here is on setting 3, I think. No, setting 5. This is setting 5. The hat is, because I had to be able to fold it over. So this is setting 5, and it's a little more durable. You can hear I can scrape this. I don't want to try to do that with this, because this is really thin. But the hat, you can just kind of scrape at it, and it won't break. I mean, it will if you go, and break it. I guess that with anything, but the thicker it is, the less breakable it is. The thinner it is, the more breakable it is. So just keep that in mind when you're doing the sculpting. The thinner it is, the more breakable it is. I mean, that's physics, people. So the thinner it is, the more breakable it is. The thicker it is, the more durable it is. So what we're going to do to this little guy, this little gnome here, is I'm going to put this back through the old pasta maker. I'm going to put this clay, this Sculpey, back through the pasta maker and kind of push it all together. Get it all into, knead it all into a ball. And then flatten it out like that. I mean, it's not the easiest material to work with. Don't get me wrong, it's not the easiest. It's a lot easier than Sculpey Firm, which is why I like it, because it does last, and it's a lot easier to work with than Sculpey Firm. Don't get me wrong, I like Sculpey Firm, but this is a lot, Super Sculpey is a lot easier. A lot of people use it on like customizing action figures, this, for example, customizing porcelains, statues, and just little things like jewelry. You can use it for customizing jewelry. So we're just going to put this into the... Oh, I got to put it on setting 7. I'm going to put this on setting 5. So we're going to put this on 5, and we're going to roll it out. Okay, so you got a nice thick material. And what we're going to do... Let me move my little gnome. And my Lazy Susan there. I suggest that if you do work with this type of stuff, you get yourself a Lazy Susan. And you can even make them. If you take beads and like put it along the sides and then just put one plate on top of each other, you can, it becomes a Lazy Susan. They're not the greatest. I mean, they are what they are. But you can purchase a Lazy Susan, I think, for maybe 14 bucks. And they're worth it. I'm telling you, they are worth it. Because when you're working on stuff, you want to be able to turn your stuff around. So you want to be able to, especially when you're painting and stuff, but you want to be able to do this and then work on each side. You know, they're great. Whoa. Thank goodness that's not porcelain, because that would have broke. So what we're going to do now, can you all see that? I don't think you can. Let me see if I can get this camera better in focus. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take our trusty utility knife, which, again, you can get these from $1.25. You can get these from Dollar Tree. And they even come with spare blades. You can get, let's see, it looks like 2 blades. So for $1.25, you can get 2 extra blades and this little utility knife, which ain't bad. I use these all the time, and I figured if something ever goes wrong, I'll just go buy another one. I mean, $1.25, come on. So these things are great for hobbyists. It's a great little hobby knife. Hobby knife. I was from some other state there for a second. Hobby knife. But these are good too, but these, they don't come with any extra blades, and they're like super cheap made. So you got to be careful, but they come in like a 3-pack, these do. I like these. I like these a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure the gnome here. And we're going to cut the excess. I suggest you get yourself a surface to cut on that you don't mind cutting on, that you don't mind cutting into. This piece of wood has been through heck. This used to be a desktop, and it's been through heck. So we're just going to cut the excess off here. Dang it, I keep knocking that gnome over. And then we're going to, I think I've had too much coffee because I'm shaking a little bit. But coffee's necessary, especially on a Saturday morning when you're still swimming. So I'm going to cut this excess off. And now we got a smooth sheet of Sculpey. You got a smooth, even sheet of Sculpey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, see how he's got these eyes? I'm going to wrap over those eyes so he's like one of those cute little gnomes. Because I think it looks better, these gnomes look better when they don't have the eyes when you can't see the eyes. They just look better. They just look better. So we're gonna wrap this, and I'm trying not to double it over because it's a waste of clay if you do that. I say clay, but it's actually not clay. It's a polymer. I don't know why I keep calling this clay. It's not a clay. It's a polymer. But we're just gonna kind of wrap that, and because I'm still gonna use the cone, the hat cone, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut about midway using my utility knife. And you want to be very careful with the utility knife. If you're an adult, that's cool. I'm sure you know to be careful with the utility knife. If you're not an adult, if you're maybe a preteen or a teen watching this, please be careful. Maybe get some adult supervision. I prefer that you get some adult supervision. As a father myself, I would want my kids to get my supervision. But we're just going to kind of, you can see here how I cut it. And now you've got partly Super Sculpey, partly cone. So what we're going to do is because of what I'm going to do with this, and I'm going to take my brush here and I'm going to push it into the Sculpey, which you cannot do this very easily with the thin. So if you get it on setting 6 or setting 7 on your pasta maker, and you try to do this with a brush and go in between your project and the Sculpey, it's going to tear. It's going to tear. So you just got to be careful. That's why I put this on setting, what setting did I use? 4? I think it was 4. So on setting 4, you can kind of get in between here. And you can see that it's just kind of, it's kind of coming off. You can see space now. Without launching a rocket ship, you can see space. That was a dad joke. You're going to hear a lot of those on this channel. I can hear my son going, oh, cringe. Okay, so we're going to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to leave it kind of like that. But what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to make this come out a little ways because I'm going to make it into a helmet. So I'm going to make this into a helmet and the cone's kind of busting out of it. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna wrap this, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so what we did here, and you can see here, I used some of my tools to make this look like his cone is busting out of this helmet, or like the helmet was blown out and he just kind of stuck it on his cone. So you can see here, I gave it some detail to where it looks like, you know, heavy material is just bent. Just bent up, and I put some like dents in the helmet and stuff, and we just ran a layer of, that looks funny, we ran a layer, or not a layer, we ran some baby oil gel over it to just smooth it out. This is what you do. You just smooth it out. You don't want to brush very hard. You just want to kind of gently tap, not tap. This is tapping, but just gently brush over it. The oil is not going to damage your Sculpey. You just want to smooth things out. There we go. So we're gonna smooth it out. Maybe make the back look like it's a little damaged. The helmet's been through, because the helmet's been through the Garden War. So kind of maybe give it some dents in the helmet lip itself to make it look like, you know, he's been hit in the head or something with a rake. You ever seen the movie Romeo and Juliet? It's kind of where I got the idea. If you have never seen the movie, it is a cute movie. Go watch it if you want to. So it got music by Elton John. A lot of stuff is based on Elton John. I don't know if Elton John directed it or whatever, or produced it. Maybe he created it, maybe he wrote it, I don't know. But it's got a lot of Elton John stuff in it. So like Crocodile Rock and stuff like that. So there you go. And we're gonna leave this here to dry. And then we're going to take the heat gun, and I'm going to kind of blast it a little bit around and heat it up and make it hard so that we can start the painting process. So that's what it looks like right now. We're going to paint it. We're going to get this guy looking good, and then we'll be back to show you. Okay, so here we go. We have the finished project. This is my little army gnome. Looks like a little 1942 or 1943 guy. It's got the American flag. I just finished painting that. It's a little sloppy, but you know, it looks good. Got the triple sword there. And it looks like he's busting out of his helmet, you know, his little gnome hat. You know, because he's got to be a gnome. He's got to be a gnome. That's who he is. He's got his little captain bars going on, and so I think this turned out pretty good. All in all, I think it turned out pretty good. What do you think? Leave me a like if you like it. If you like the videos that I do, leave me a notification bell. You know, click that notification bell so that you can keep getting my videos if you like what you're seeing. Don't forget to comment below. It helps with the algorithms. And subscribe, and of course share the videos. If you like what you're seeing, you think you got friends out there who might like to see it, share my videos on your major outlets, your Facebooks, your Instagram, stuff like that. I don't know, can you share YouTube on Instagram? I'm not real sure, but anyway, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and until next time, I'm Dr. Sketch. Keep sketching, I guess, or keep being artsy. Later.